becomes critical.
When the judge looks into the application, he wants to make sure you have an informant that is reliable, who's been able to give you information in the past, and he's going to take that into consideration when he issues that warrant.
Let's go back to Arizona. Remember those two young people who were pulled over? They seemed to admit that they had been doing heroin. There were needles in the car. It turns out that was the exact same spot where Trooper James Casey, or at least the same area where Trooper James Casey had been shot just over 2 years ago. Let's listen to him talking about what happened.
So when I was talking with the guy and the girl, they gave me conflicting stories. The guy eventually told me that they had heroin in the glove box. And I know that area very well. It's very high crime, drugs, etc. When I found the cap, it was black tar heroin, and what they had done is actually when I walked up, it was a consensual encounter. I just walked up and started talking with them, and that's when I found out they had the heroin in the glove box. She was actually in the process of getting ready to shoot up, and that's why it was in a liquid form, and you could see it was kind of a jelly-like. I asked her how much they use a day, and she said they both use a 20 bag, which is $20 worth of heroin. I asked her how long she'd been using, and she said a few years now. He told me he's only used about a $10 bag a day, and he's only been using for about a year. I asked them how they use, and they said slam. And in Phoenix, slam is a street term for shooting up intravenously through needles. And I saw there were plenty of needles. Luckily, they were all clean or capped, and there wasn't any of the heroin inside the needles. They had smoking apparatus for it, which more than likely I've also talked to people here, and they'll use meth. They'll say to take the edge off, so that's what it looked like with meth residue. She will be booked in Maricopa County Jail for possession of narcotic drugs, as heroin is considered narcotic in Arizona. He will be long-formed, which means that he'll be summoned into court if the county attorney will take the charges. There wasn't really a lot of dope there, or heroin, so, we'll see. But she really, she was in her early 20s, and she had the marks on her face. I could tell she used more than he did, just from my experience of dealing with.
I want to go back to Bridgeport, Connecticut, that horrible story of that unresponsive 1-year-old baby. The police there accompanied the ambulance to the scene, Sergeant Chris Robinson and Officer Mark Blackwell. Let's get an update on what happened.
All right, so we followed the medics to the hospital, and at this time, unfortunately, it doesn't look like the baby survived. It was kind of lifeless upon arrival at the hospital. It's a heartbreaking scene. These are the calls that they get to you.
Oh, man.
It hits home, and, it's right around Christmas, and these kids, they lose their sibling, the parents, they lose their baby. And, the medics, they're trying everything they can. It's just bad. I'm sorry, I can't get a comment.
It's hard not to feel exactly the way he feels. If you've got a child, and I'm sure that he does, it breaks your heart to hear that kind of story. We're going to take a break. We come back, told that there's been some sort of escape in Utah. Back with Live PD in a moment.